I'm going to talk about why financial time series is perhaps the most important topic in the field of quantitative finance or financial engineering. You do any project in the field of quantitative finance, it's very unlikely that you will not encounter topics related to time series analysis. It's very unlikely that you will work in a department that does quantitative modeling where you're not doing any time series analysis, right? And why is that so? I'm going to talk about that a bit. And so people who come from machine learning background, people who have done data science or they have done computer science, and as part of their course they have done machine learning and AI. Oftentimes I see that they tend to ignore this particular modeling area. They don't learn about it, and that's actually is not a good thing, simply because when you go for interviews in the world of banking and finance and investment and trading, the most important topic to be discussed is time series. It's rarely that you will. I mean, obviously there are other questions related to machine learning and econometrics and statistics and all that, but the most important data analytical technique that you will hear in the discussion would be mostly around questions related to time series analysis, right? And financial time series in particular, because you are working with financial data, right? And why is that so? Let's talk about the investment and trading world, right? In the world of trading or even in investment, you are concerned about return and the risk, right? And the risk, right? So you worry about your future returns, right? Which is the mean return in the future, which is uncertain, right? And the risk involved, which is the volatility. So you want to model for mean return in the future, and you want to model for the volatility in your returns in the future, right? And these two things are by far the most important thing for traders or even for investors, right? If you're doing any data analysis for that, now for trading you don't need to do any data analysis, right? But nowadays quantitative trading is perhaps more popular than doing trading on your own without looking at the data. So has the investment world changed, right? The investment world has become more quantitative, although even today you see people not using any data for investment purpose, and they simply go by behavioral patterns and their own intuition, and not backtest with the data. But if we're going to be working in more quantitative firms where people use mathematical modeling for decision making, you'll be concerned with the mean returns in the future and the expected volatility in the future. And for these two things, you need to use financial time series, right? So what are the things that you must learn in order to be able to do this work properly, right? Have you ever done financial time series, or for that matter, any time series you have taken any course? You probably have learned about ARIMA, the AR model, MA model, and so on, right? And a lot of people they start with the AR autoregressive model, the moving average model, the ARMA model, and the ARIMA model. And if you have done ML, then you can also do time series modeling using ML models as well. So it's not that it's just the econometric models where that are better for time series analysis. Um, for example, you can also use neural networks for time series forecasting. But in the world of finance, I still say that it's the more traditional econometric models which are used for financial forecasting, right? So that these models that I just discussed, that's for mean forecasting, but for volatility forecasting, you need to use the Arch model, the Garch model, and there are various version of Garch model. Okay, you will also learn about vector autoregression and those type of concepts. Um, so yeah, these are some of the models that one should learn if you are going to be working in quantitative finance. And it's not just in the trading and investment area. Time series analysis is important. It's also important in other areas. If you work in the banking side, you work not in the trading but in the lending side. There also time series analysis is important, less important, but nevertheless still important, right? If you're doing any statistical modeling, you have to check for autocorrelation of the residuals and so on. And there you will need concepts of time series in order to understand. It's just about, it's not about using time series for modeling purpose, but it's about using to test the robustness or to test the theoretical accuracy of the model. Um, you'll also be using time series models in certain areas. For example, if you're doing lifetime forecasting of losses, or there's something called the IFRS 9 rules for provision calculation. There you might also use time series analysis for forecasting of macroeconomic parameters. If you're going to be working in the research area for the banking sector, even for the lending, not just for trading and investment, you'll have to do research on sectors, different sectors, and forecasting for different sectors and so on. On the lending side, people also do quantitative analysis for forecasting uh, revenues and cash flows and everything. For that also you need time series. Okay. So it's not just for trading and investment for which time series is such an important topic, but even for the lending side, you use time series a lot. So if you come from a non-statistic econometrics background and you want to work in the field of finance in the quantitative side, make sure that you learn time series. Many people with the data science and computer science background, they tend to not study this one, and they simply focus on those cross-section analysis. Very good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that this is also equally important. If you're going to be working on pricing of different assets, even there you will be using time series analysis. For example, if you're going to be working in the derivative side, in derivative, for pricing of derivative, measurement of volatility is important, or is an important concept to keep in mind. That's when you will also be using time series analysis. Okay. Um, what else? If you're going to be working as a quant economist, there are macro hedge funds. They do forecasting of macroeconomic parameters such as inflation, exchange rate, and so on. You'll be using time series analysis for forecasting purposes, and you will be using quite a number of modeling techniques. Not just the AR/MA ARIMA type model, but for example, models such as error correction (ECM) model or BECM model. Okay. Um, okay. So a number of things. If you want to understand causality, you will be using models such as the grandeur causality checks. These are concepts taught in time series, but used also in the real world. Very interesting, right? Oftentimes you learn things in the classrooms which are not used anywhere. But financial econometrics, or for that matter, the whole of econometrics is used in the real world as well. Most of it, not all the concepts, but many of the concepts are used. In the trading area also, some of the trading strategies are constructed purely through some of the academic time series concepts. For example, the mean reversion concept, right? Which is often a trading strategy for many traders. Even there, you can use time series models uh, to come up with your own version of trading strategy, right? You can tweak it a bit also. According, I mean, it's for trading and that kind of purpose. You don't have to verify all assumptions and do as long as you can do proper back testing to ensure that the model really performs well in the historical data, but also be careful about it, and you have all the you adhere to the risk management practices, then you can go ahead with tweaking the academics models and to tailor make it for your own purpose, right? Pair trading is one other area where time series modeling is also okay. So this is also where economic time series models, academic models are used. Where else? Uh, in the compliance area also, I see time series models are used nowadays. Uh, so if you're going to be working on the research and rating agencies like Moody's and S&P, they also use time series analysis for variety of things because they do tons of forecasting. So super useful, right? Univariate time series analysis, multivariate time series analysis. They use these concepts there. So the bottom line here is that this is one topic that you mustn't ignore if you want to work in the field of finance as a risk modeler, as a quantitative finance expert, or as a macroeconomist, or as a researcher, just as a researcher, right? You may be coming from whatever background. You don't have to have an economics or finance background in order to work in this field. You may have a physics background or maths background or engineering background, but make sure that you have sufficient knowledge of financial time series, right? You have used time series analysis using financial data, right? Not with the stock price, it could be beyond that, you know. That's also something I advise people that, look beyond just the equities for your projects and so on, because, the world of investment trading and risk management lending is more than just equities. There's a lot more asset classes to think about. So explore. All right. Thanks for watching and see you in another video.